Greetings. Welcome to the Developing Dad podcast. I am your host, Michael J. Griffin Jr. Let me get this beard. I'm your host, Michael J. Griffin Jr., and today we're going to talk about black culture. All right, but before we get started, I need you to like, comment, subscribe, do that thing, share it out, let people know what's going on. Thank you all in advance for doing that. Thank you for joining. Those of you that are joining in now, say hello. Don't forget to like. For those of you that are coming in later, thank you for joining, watching the replay. This one is going to be more of a discussion, so I'm going to need some back and forth. The question today is, who defines black culture? I probably should have put let's see if I can do that. I'm going to start doing that where I put the thumbnail back as the main thing. I think that's wise. What do you all think? You think I should build that plane while flying? Hold on one second. Let's see. I'm going to do it now. Let's see. So I'm going to use this. What episode am I on? I'm on 5 of the comeback. Don't call it a comeback. All right. Don't call it a comeback. So let's see. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to change the scene. All right. Here we go. Now, we're talking about Black Culture Review. Don't forget, if you want to find me, this is our second episode of Black Culture Review. If you want to find me, Linktree / Developing Dad Podcast. But while I'm waiting for that, let me pull this in really quickly. All right. So y'all going to see me do this. We're going to build the plane while flying. I want to do that. Boom. Put that right there. Boom. Black Culture Review. And then I'll take the Linktree down. All right. So there we go. Y'all see? Y'all got to, y'all got to see it happening live and in person. That little bitty thing down there. I need to take that out. Is that put that on my chest? I forgot I even did that. All right. So what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining in. So who defines black culture? That's the question that we're asking right now. Okay. So let me read this really quickly, and then I will we'll get started. All right. So who defines black culture? The answer to that question will help us to define what black culture is. At the root of the question is control and perception. Join me today as I ask these questions and get your feedback. The main subjects for today's live are, you see in the thumbnail, Roberto Blake, Kanye West, TD Jakes, and LeBron James. However, whatever happens in the comments, you all know that I'm going to address the comments, and I will not hesitate to bring in your feedback to help me to make this show better. All right. So if you have, don't hesitate. Please join me and let me know what you're thinking. So, hi Susie. Hello. So who defines black culture? Who defines it? And what is black culture? And what do I mean by black? Right. So what do I mean by black? Generally, when I say that, I mean African descendants of slaves in the United States. I think that's the easiest way to define it, and it may not be, but there are so many ways to parse that out now. You got the POC, like there's so many acronyms going on all over the place, right? It's like, how do you keep up with them? I thought there were a lot of acronyms in my line of business. I'm a software developer, and the number of acronyms in our business is mind-numbing. But I think the recent culture has they're neck and neck. It's getting to that point where you can't clearly define anything. But I'm asking the question, who defines black culture? Greetings. Oh, you know what? I had a really great question. Before we get too deep into that, I had a great question from someone. I hope he doesn't mind if I use this comment. I'm going to use it because this was a great question. I'm not going to put it up on screen because I don't want to. I didn't check with him before I actually decided to do this. But he was asking the question about yesterday's episode, or was it 2 episodes ago? The Messiah Syndrome. Manosphere and the Messiah Syndrome. And he asked the question. It was a very good question. He asked me, is the Messiah complex just someone thinking that they are Jesus, right? Essentially. What's going on, Be Great? Hello, Anania. Hello. And he is absolutely correct that um, that the Messiah complex is is someone thinking that they're Jesus, that they're Messiah. You know, all right. I specifically used syndrome as a replacement for that because I knew that Messiah complex had a larger meaning, a more well defined meaning. And I didn't want to use complex because I don't think many in the manosphere are trying to put themselves in the place of Jesus intentionally. But I think that, and I think I maybe I didn't do a good enough job of defining this on that episode. But what I'm saying is that in culture, because we are made in God's image, men and women, people, I are either looking for a Messiah or they are putting themselves in the place in certain ways for the Messiah, right? So there are people who are leading people, they are leading people along a path, the way. They're telling them how they should live, right? Not saying that they're the Messiah, that they're going to save men from their sins, but there are people who are trying to teach. And in the manosphere, there are plenty of people that are telling people how they should live, right? Like Greg Adams, the free agent lifestyle, the late Kevin Samuels had some very specific ways that he thought men should live. Mediocre tutorials, poor man's podcast, whoever, fresh and fit, whoever it is, right? They're trying to tell you what you should and should not do. Okay, and that's a syndrome. That's a symptom. That's why I used, right? Yes, guru culture, right? I probably could have used that, but I thought Messiah syndrome would actually, pull more people in, right? Because the Messiah is one who leads, who teaches, who suffers on behalf of others. Now I know obviously those people aren't doing that, but they like to lead and they want to teach. They want you to look at them as someone who has the answers to life. So I use syndrome instead of complex because I don't think many in the manosphere think of themselves as a Messiah, Jesus, or someone like that, right? I think they just have some of the symptoms of someone who would do that, meaning, and don't get me wrong, and he was actually correct as well. He pointed out that anyone who does that is actually falling in on that spectrum of syndrome. I think he was using complex, but I specifically stayed away from complex, the word complex. I use syndrome because it's a symptom of certain things. So that's why I tried to parse my words in that title carefully because I looked up complex and I said, no, this is not what I want to convey. Syndrome is more akin to what I'm trying to get across. So I use that word specifically so it's not getting confused with Messiah complex because I don't think many of these men. Now, there's some people in the manosphere who have a Messiah complex, but yeah, I don't think any of the people that I've reviewed on my channel, save one, has a Messiah complex. And I'll let y'all guess who that is. But it wasn't Greg Adams, it wasn't Kevin Samuels, it wasn't O'Shea, it wasn't Poor Man's, it wasn't Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, it wasn't any of them. That's going to limit the people that I'm talking about. But you'll be able to find that out. All right, people use FBA now. What, Foundational Black American? Man, there's so many different ones. So let's talk about this, y'all. Let's talk about this, right? A culture comes from the culturus, right? I think that's the Latin word. From the verb culture. I did not look that up. But it's about cultivating. You know what? Why not do it? Look, let me see something real quick. Hold on. See if this book gives me. This is one of my favorite books to look stuff up in. Let me check. I'm gonna check it real quick. But a culture, and I define it this way. So let me go to the word first. Let's go to the word. Come on, let's go to the word. All right, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna go to the word first. So we see that the Bible actually has much to say about this. All right, let's go to Ephesians 6:4. Let's talk about that first because this is I always want to go. Oh, let's look it up. Let's look at what you talking about, Jewel. What you talking about, Jewel? People look to Stoicism like it's some sort of magic key. Ain't no peace without the Prince of Peace. Come on. Though they sought out an ancient path, right? Jeremiah 6:16. But the wrong one. They're seeking out an ancient path, yes. Where the good way is and walking it, but they're not seeking the one with the Messiah. Is the hint on TikTok or the show that starts with a V? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. Let's see. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this word. Hold on one second. I want to see if I was correct with my let's see. Okay. Let's see. 255. Hold on. Let's see if I was right with the verb that I chose, the Latin verb that I said. All right, let's see. Did I say 255 or 245? 245. Hold on, y'all. Forgive me. Nope. I must not be looking at the right one. Anyway, I'm looking at the wrong one. It says 255. Whatever. I guess I'm. Oh, okay. Yeah, yes. Cult. The prefix cult comes from the Latin cultus, meaning care. So cultivation is care of something, such as a garden, in a way that one encourages its growth. And culture is what is produced by cultivating human knowledge, skills, beliefs, manners, science, and art over many years. All right. So that's why, and I'm using this Merriam-Webster's Vocabulary Builder. This is a really great book. Yes. What? Come on. I love it. Love it. All right. So that's where you get that word culture from, the Latin cultus, which means to care for something. All right. So black culture. So what is black culture? So let's define this together. I want to have a conversation. All right. Let's see. I want to have a conversation. So knowing the etymology of the word from the Latin cultus, which means to care, and then the fact that culture means that you take care of something, right? That you are a garden, like a garden, and a culture is what is produced by cultivating human knowledge, skills, beliefs, manners, science, and art over many years. All right. So can we define and this is one of the things that I think is so frustrating about what is commonly known as black culture. But let's go to really quickly. We're going to go here, Ephesians 6. All right. And I have a couple of definitions that I want to lay out. All right. So that's one. We just looked up culture in here, right? Remember the skills. We're going to keep a bookmark right here just in case, so we can come back to this and talk about this. Where's my bookmark? All right. Y'all want to see what I use for bookmarks? I use Latin vocabulary cards. Errare est humanum. That means to err is human. Errare est humanum. Yes. Come on. What? Come on, y'all. Look at y'all. I love this. Come on. All right. So Ephesians 6:4. Now this is for the Christians in the building, right? Ephesians 6:4 from the King James Version. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Now the two Greek terms there, nurture is paideia, and admonition is nouthesia. Now if I would hit that, I could probably see a little bit more in the way, right? Admonition, calling attention to an implication, mild rebuke or warning. All right, and this one is paideia is education, training, implication, disciplinary correction, chastening, chastisement, instruction, nurture. All right, so these are my two definitions for those terms, right? All right, I say paideia is the full enculturation into the norms and mores of the society. What's normal? What are the beliefs, the practices? That's paideia. Now, Christians are supposed to bring their children up. This is what fathers are taught to do. Bring your children up in that thing. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. And then also, and that's a training. I mean, just like what I do with my kids. It's one of the reasons why I do the things I do with my kids is because I was convicted based on this word. Paul uses this word on purpose. Once I figured out what's going on, Uncle Stu in the house. Uncle Stu, I will be calling you today, brother. I will be calling you today. I'm putting it on wax. Right? Putting it on wax right here. Okay. So, full enculturation into the norms and mores of the society. So that's paideia. That's the nurture or discipline and instruction of the Lord. And then what I use for nouthesia, this is how I define that one. I'm defining nouthesia as corrective measures to ensure adherence to the norms and mores of the society. So there has to be something in place, right? This is Ephesians 6 comes after Ephesians 4 and 5, where Paul is teaching believers how to live with one another, the one another's passages. And he's telling us, he's basically telling us how to create a Christian culture. Forgive, love, don't steal, but work. Don't tear down with your words, but build up and be graceful. Don't no sexual immorality. Make sure that you don't get drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit, addressing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody to the Lord with your heart. Sing to one another the good news of Christ. Be reminded of these things. Do be angry, but don't sin. Right? Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Don't hold on to anger. All right? Yes. Oh yes, I know. Look. Oh, I know you've been riding with me since the beginning. You were actually, yes, you were my first member. Yes, you were my first member. Yes. Yes. Welcome back. I appreciate you, Clement. So these are the things that the Paideia Nuthesia. Now we can look at that. This can be instructive for us as a black culture, right? Because we have the definition of culture. We talked about it. Culture is what is produced by cultivating. That means taking care of. Cultus from Latin. Human knowledge, skills, beliefs, manners, science, and art over many years. I would even add to that virtue. Virtue over many years, cultivating virtue, virtus, making men. So my sons and I are studying. We're studying, and I'm gonna show you the book that we're using. We're studying history with the curious historian, Greece and the classical world. Okay, so this is it's a nice little book, but it's talking about discussing every Greek city's the Greekness of every Greek city state, the polis, right? Polis, not police as in polic, but it actually comes from that. The Greek word city, polis. Every city had its own character. Sparta, for example. Sparta was very militaristic. Their men were required to train. This is their paideia. They were expected to be strong, brave, right? Each polis had its own Greek. They were all Greek, but they had their own specific paideia, and you were to be brought up in that paideia as a vir, as a man, right? Yes, yes. All right, come on. All right. Okay, so yes, supplement your faith with virtue, and virtue with knowledge, and knowledge with self-control, and self-control with steadfastness, and steadfastness with godliness, and godliness with brotherly affection, and brotherly affection with love. For if these qualities are yours and are increasing, they keep you from being ineffective or unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ. That's 2 Peter. Yes, I believe is that 1 Peter or 2 Peter? Is one of them. I got both of them memorized, so when you said that, my brain just worked. What's going on, Jeff? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So here's the idea. We got this culture that's growing up in the Greek world. Paul says, yes, that I'm taking what they're saying about it, this paideia, and I'm bringing it into the Christian context and teaching you all, you should be doing these things. This is how you build a Christian paideia. Love one another. And then you see this throughout the entire book of Acts. And we're just kind of camping out right now to talk about what a culture is before we get to define, like what is black culture, and is this a good thing, this thing that we defined as black culture? Yes, I know. Well, before I got too old, I had to start doing that, because once I got old, it's going to be harder and harder. But praise the Lord for a good memory. I'll just say that. All right. So we've got this culture, this thing that we're supposed to cultivate and care for, and make sure that it grows, and it's good things, good, true, and beautiful things that we're exalting, and we're saying this is our paideia. These are our cultural norms and mores. These are the normal things that make a culture good. Remember, we talked about it. Blessed is a nation whose God is the Lord, or righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. So these are right and good things that the Christians are supposed to be partaking in. And then fathers are supposed to bring their children up in it. So this is probably the most impactful verse when I became a believer, I was already a father, and I said, well, what is my job? What am I supposed to be doing? It was this. And I had to figure out what this meant. How do I bring my children up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord? And I am still working on that every day. I read books about, like this book, reading this book, Norms and Nobility, about treatise on education. realizing that all education is discipleship. I have some books over here about specifically about Paideia, the Paideia way. I think I have one over here, the Christian Paideia. It's just so I'm trying to figure out what it is, what's my job, and how do I go about doing that. Now, let's shift gears. So now that we know what a culture is, it's supposed to be something that's good, right? Virtue. Okay. So what is black culture? Y'all help me out. Somebody help me out with this. Like, what is black culture and who defines it? Because I remember a time when black culture was defined by the Bible. Um, I remember a time. Now I came in, I think, on like the tail end of that, being born in the late 70s. The vestiges of that were still there, depending on your local church and how faithful they were to the scriptures, and how many men you had there that were strong and that were continuing to push forward against some of the evils that were encroaching upon the day. Because in the 80s, you know, stuff was popping off, drugs, and I mean, it was the beginning of all that stuff, the androgyny with Prince and Michael Jackson and all these other things. Yeah. So what is black culture? Y'all help me, because we've got to figure this out, right? Because who defines it and what is it? Now, a lot of times you'll hear people talk about what the culture. You know what I may do? You know what I may do? I may do this. I may do this. If somebody wants to come on, I may do this real quick. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm going to create a new broadcast. It's just, I will skip this for now. Guest broadcast. And I'll put this link in here. Let's see what we're going to do. Let's see if we can do this. Because I may like build this plane while flying. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, let's see. I'm going to mute myself. And actually, I shouldn't have to mute myself. I could probably, let me enter the studio. Because I want to get some feedback on this. All right. Let me go to because I know what I think of when I think of black culture. And I think based on this, based on what has been promoted in media, you would think that, yeah, I'm putting this in here. Hold on. I'm going to pin this to the top. Pin this message. All right, there we go. So what is it? I don't really know. I know that thing. I know yeah. What's up? What did I say on an old stream? You said your heroes were people who pretend. Yeah, actors tell jokes, comedians, and play games. I know. I did say that. I do remember that. Right? And that's a dangerous thing, because we've allowed that to become the norm. Remember when our heroes, as flawed as he is, as flawed as they were, men like Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King. Give me some other examples. Give me some other examples. Frederick Douglass. Just keep going back. Booker T. Washington, W.E.B. Du Bois, or was it Du Bois? I don't know how he. These men, while flawed, were intellectuals and statesmen, orators, men of at least external character. Again, you can debate on the particulars of their life, but you could not deny that they definitely weren't actors, comedians, or athletes, right? I'm glad. Look, great minds think alike. Look, great minds think alike. That's right. That's right. There you go. I need y'all. That's why I need y'all in here. All right. But this is what we've become accustomed to. That's why I put who I put on the thumbnail. Now, the three of them you probably all know, right? You know all three of those. You know T.D. Jakes, you know Kanye, and you know LeBron James. But I put that one other guy there, Roberto Blake. Why did I choose Roberto Blake? Several reasons why I chose Roberto Blake. One, because he's successful in his sphere. He's a black man. I think he might be a little bit younger than I am. I think he says he's a child of the 90s. So that, and I'm a child of the 80s. So I'm probably at least 5 to 7 years older than he is. But look, he has 568,000 subscribers. He's helping other creators become successful. And he's crossed over. He's not what you would typically call a black success story, right? He's not a black success story. But why not? Why not? Is it because he doesn't have the typical look, the typical dress, the typical cadence, the typical style appeal? But look at this young man. Look at this. I don't want to say look at this man because he's not. I don't know if he's a young man. He's like probably my sister's age. But the guy is literally a success story on YouTube, and he hasn't done it with. He's not an actor. He's not an entertainer. He's not a comedian. He just works the YouTube algorithm and teaches other people how to do it and to become a successful YouTube economy unto yourself. Now, why is he? Why do we not know about him? I didn't know about him until I started searching out people who knew how to be successful on YouTube. This was last year. I found out about him last year, and I watch his videos from time to time to get information and insight on building a platform. Now, I don't put it all into practice the best way, but because I don't have as much time as I need to do it. But I promise you, I've listened to him and I could go down the list of things that he says that you should do. And if I did them, I would probably be more successful. but the man is a success. Why don't we know about people like him? Because he's only one. He's only one of many. Like you could go and you could find other people who are doing the same thing. And they're not your typical, black success stories. What's going on, KL? What you got saying? The strongest Christians I know would be hot messes or would have perished a long time ago without the grace of Christ. Yeah, these are the folks I admire. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Yes. Unfortunately, that used to be what what did you say? I missed this, Kiana. Let me see this. And they didn't dress poorly. They were well dressed. They looked like they wanted to be taken seriously. Ooh, amen. One of the reasons why, if you go back and look at my videos, so I'll give you a little bit of anecdotal information about me. When I was in corporate America, I dressed like this, similar to this: shirts, ties, etc. If that was the dress code. But I wasn't taking myself seriously after I started to work from home. I started to dress down. If you go back and look at my videos from 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19, I was not. And I'm checking myself. I had to make a decision in 2019 that I wanted to be taken seriously. 2019, 2020. I wanted to dress in such a way that honored what I was doing internally. Becoming more classical, becoming more respectable. It's not that I was, out here doing crazy stuff, but I needed my dress to reflect internally what I was about good things, about being different, about being set apart. Now, again, if the internals of me are trash, then it doesn't matter what I put on, obviously. But then there's been a lot of pushback on that. And now people will look at me and think that I'm trash just because I dress this way. So we have a tendency as human beings to go into one ditch or the other, right? Anybody now that dresses up is seen as a social pariah and as someone who should be questioned. Their ethics and virtue should be questioned because we take the time to dress up. Like, no, that's not what Jesus was discussing. That's not what we should be looking at. The external. Don't look at the externals and judge me and say that I'm a good person because of the externals. Judge me based on my character, but don't do the negative thing as well, where you say he's dressed up, he must be trying to do something. It's like we do that often. But anyway, I don't want to get off on that side note. Anyway, what do you say? What do you say? MKBHD. He doesn't necessarily teach others, but I remember following his come up back in undergrad. He's a huge deal these days. Who is MKBHD? I don't know who that is. MKBHD. That's another one. Is that him? Oh, Well, yeah, he's got 16.3 million. Okay, 16.3 million subscribers. There you go. Look at that. See, not a you know, where are these? Why don't we know about these people? Right? Yeah, people see him as the authority in consumer tech. Look at that. See, I have to check myself. I'm lazy with the dress since I work from home. I did the same thing, Kiana. It's a process because it's like, okay, I'm working from home now. I'm living a dream. I get to wake up in my pajamas and go straight to work. And then it's like, okay, it's getting kind of tiresome now. Let me get back to dressing. You know, like taking my time, taking some time to get, you know, to look decent, right? That dress for the job you want mentality has gone by the wayside. Yeah, that thing is way past, right? Let's see where we go. All right, so people drag Monique through the mud for suggesting black people avoid leaving the house in pajamas. Hello, you're right. And then the bonnet thing. Don't even get me started on the bonnet thing, right? Wasn't that the big deal? The bonnet thing. Like, there's now a bonnet emoji on the iPhone. Because have we become such a have we be so is it which one's the chicken or the egg, right? Was it black people who started to imbibe this culture and promote it, or was it pressed down on top of us, and then eventually we started to accept it? And what I mean by black culture is the idea that all of this stuff that we talked about in here, this is because, don't get me wrong, like black music and the thing, like, I love R&B, I love the chords, I love gospel music. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about ratchetness. Why is ratchetness now seen as the only as black culture? Why is that? Why are we the only culture where our what's the word I'm looking for? Where the derogatory term to describe us is now mainstream in the culture. You try to say the K word about. Remember, Michael Jackson tried to add a song that had the Jewish, you know, yeah, the bad word for Jews. They would not, no, nah. Now you go in there with the N word, in this, in that, in all up in the in blah, 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 you in all over the place. Fine, put that on the airwaves. Why? Why is that our culture? Why is that seen as acceptable and ours? Why do we have to own that? Because I reject that out of hand. But why is that? And then you have the idea of the culture, right? You're doing this for the culture. People are dragging Kanye because they believe that he has abandoned the culture. Okay? That's why? We should abandon those negative aspects of the culture. Keep the beautiful, keep Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? Keep Confunction, right? Keep that. Keep Motown. Keep all of the good things. Keep the good R&B. Keep that kind of stuff. Keep the stuff that you can listen to and you and your children can listen to, the Stevie Wonder from back in the day. Keep that stuff. But this ooh, let's see. What are we talking about? Yeah, a bonnet emoji. Yes. Yes. You seen men out and about with bonnets? Wow. Now, I can't lie. I used to wear a do-rag, like, in the house. Yeah, but not out and about. Every night. Well, I don't know. Anyway, but that was during my days where I was really not. So, and I'm not gonna lie. Let me be transparent. Back then, what I was trying to do, I was not being true to myself. I was trying to portray that while I'm seeking out all these other things, I'm still down. I'm still down, right? I'm down. I'm down. I'm like, I'll ride with you. You can ride with me. I'm still about black people, black this, black that, black the. I'm as much as that was a farce. Don't get me wrong. That was an absolute farce. It's not who I am. It's not how I was raised to be. I do love, like, I play gospel music. I play R&B on the guitar. I love Motown bass. I love those. I love that stuff. But miss me with the Snoop Dogg and the Tupac and the because these are the people that I grew up with. I don't even know who's popular now, but all of the people that the offshoots of that to this day, I want nothing to do with that. I want nothing to do with thought culture, with 304 culture that's being pressed down upon us, and people are making us think that that's our culture. That's not my culture. That's not what I come from. That's not what most black people come from. That's the sad thing. That's not what we come from. Right? Let's see what you're saying, Indonesia. I just had to travel 2 days for work and change 4 times. Woo, I was happy to put on heels. Wow. Yes, it was in that song. Yes, that Michael Jackson. It was in the song. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us, right? But you don't get that. You don't get that. Nobody else does that. Like if you go back at the pejorative terms for Asian people back in the World War II days, you don't hear like with Archie Bunker. If some of the stuff that Archie Bunker said about Asian people, or about black people, or about Jews on television back then, you're not going to hear that anymore. Now you can say that about black people till you're blue in the face. It's in the music. It's in every basketball game. It's in every football game. It's the culture. And it's the culture that's destroying us, if we want to call that a culture, because a culture is supposed to do what? What do we talk about? Culture is supposed to, let me read it again. I'm going back to the book. Read it again. Comes from the Latin cultus, meaning to care. So cultivation is care of something, such as a garden, in a way that encourages what? Growth. This thing that we call culture, it doesn't encourage growth. It encourages death. We have a death culture, abortion, thought culture, hookup, whatever you want to call it. And it's more dangerous for us because we don't have, on the whole, we don't have the financial means to, so when we make a mistake, right, for the most part, if we make these mistakes and we live that culture, we don't have the avenues, the channels to travel up out of it like other groups do. Like if you were to, like an Asian family, let's say one of their kids, like where we live, there's a lot of Vietnamese people. Let's say a Vietnamese child decides to act stupid, right? Oh, I'm gonna try to be hip hop. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Their parents ain't playing that. Now their parents are going to admonish them, tell them to come back. Now if they keep going and go crazy, okay, fine. But I promise you, because a lot of Asian people I know personally, that people I went to high school with, own businesses. When their child gets their head together and acts right, decides to act right, they're bringing them back into the fold, and they have things ready to help them to get back on their feet. Now, when we do that foolishness, we ain't got all of that. We don't have those safety nets built in to our families, because the past 60 years we've been eroding it through these wicked policies and these wicked practices. So now we're on a raise. We have look at the margins are like that big for us, right? You mess up as a black person, you got that much wiggle room, right? For the most part, you playing around. You go ahead. Look, what does Jules say? Say, I love music, but I have to blame the music. It is a part of it. Yeah, hip hop degraded in quality, but then hip hop became mainstream pop. So now you have the Lils and the Babies. But then who's the one who decided that those people get the record deals? And why don't we have people stopping them? Because again, we purchase it. Now I would say probably more, to be honest, more white people purchase the music than black people, because you ain't gonna make that much money if you don't have the support of like those young white kids that they love that music too. So the demographics. But who decided that this was okay? Just give it to the black people. They'll take it. They'll eat it. It's like, oh, Mikey likes it. Like just throw that over there. You know, that like that. Maybe not Mikey likes it. Mikey likes it because Mikey didn't like stuff, right? The like cereal. Anyway, but the thing is, like, we just give black people the leftovers, the scraps, and just here, you gonna take this. You'll take it. You have the palate for this garbage. Why? Why do we get this? But because it's supposed to cultivate, a culture is supposed to cultivate growth, y'all. So a culture is what's produced by cultivating humans' knowledge skills, beliefs, manners, science, and art, and I would say virtue over many years. Now, what have we been cultivating with this culture that people have been calling black culture for years? Confunction. They never talk about confunction. Right, exactly. Come on. Oh, I know some stuff now. Love the elements. Yes. Right. Do you remember? I'm going back now. Go in the Nia. Let's see. Not a do rag, not in the house. Full on, yes, a full on satin bonding. Yes. Look, I do not pretend that I have not been inflicted or affected by the culture, right? Because again, you don't want black people if you're trying. So my hope is always to reach the people in my sphere, right? And the majority of people in New Orleans are black, and the majority of people that I know are black. So I have a heart for people that I know and I love and that I see. So I didn't want them to, you know, reject me out of hand because you know I don't look the part, and that was foolish on my part because I give more respect and honor and dignity and walking around like this because this is a projection of what my family actually is. As I'm leading them, as I'm walking out of the doors, I'm leading them in procession this way. And my daughters are always well dressed. And my sons, one of them don't like to be, but my sons are always like they've gotten to the point now Monday through Thursday, they're wearing this as well. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they get to, dress a little bit. They get to dress down some. I think even on Sundays, we make them dress like this too. But the idea is I'm leading the procession of my family so that people recognize that there's something different, that we're not just like everybody else, and we don't want to be like everybody else. We want them to see that there's something different about us. So, I always say we all have to be real with it. Music is a universal language and incredibly effective. Yes, it is. And infectious medium. Yeah, because it bypasses what the frontal lobe, and you'll be singing stuff that like your worldview will be songs and you don't even realize it, right? That's why the Bible tells us to sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to one another because that places God's word in our hearts and in our heads, and then we're ministering to one another that way. That's exactly right, Jewel. Whatever message is shared, that message is gonna spread. Amen to that. Amen to that. All right. Yes. You grew up with a lot of Vietnamese people. Come on, in the coast of Alabama. That's right. Yeah. So the Vietnamese people here, I went to high school with them, worked with them, went to college with them, and they would. This one guy. I'll tell you this one story. I worked with this one guy, this Vietnamese guy, and his family owned they owned a convenience store, and we worked together. We were programmers together. And he told me, he said, Mike, he said, you're a good black. And then there was a white woman who shared the office with us, and she turned around and looked at him like looked at us like, uh-oh, like what's about to happen? It was funny, but I knew exactly what he meant. And he got kind of flustered and he explained it. He said, well, well, my parents own a Vietnamese store, and they're always coming in there and they're stealing, and they talk to us any kind of way, and they're always cussing, and they're making fun of us, and it's really hard to do business with them. And he's saying, said, Mike, you're really a great guy. He's like, you're really smart, you're really well spoken, you're really, like all of these things. And I'm like, and I said, well, I guess I'll take the compliment. I mean, because I mean, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna get? I'm not gonna. I'm gonna. He's like he was a shark. I was gonna like get mad at him because we had been working together for years, and I knew that was his way of basically telling me like he's really thinking, man, like why aren't all black people like this, right? What is it? That's it. That was his mindset, right? But that was that was a funny story. You said people can read a 300-page book to engage an idea, or people can listen to a 3-minute song. I'm just saying lower barrier of entry. That's it. You're right. No, there's no doubt about it. Music. You can tell the culture by its music. The culture, music reflects the culture. I guess, and culture reflects music. It can go both ways. That's why that chicken or the egg thing, right? Chicken or the egg. Which one is it? Which one came first, right? So y'all talking about flip flops? Yes, yes. More white kids buy it, yes, than we do. Oh yeah, big time. Yes. Yes, right. So when you have respect for yourself, you will automatically command respect from others. Yeah, you're literally just trying to project something, an air of respectability. Yes, exactly. All right. So he says, Jewel, what are you saying? It's So true. It's a form of setting boundaries. My unsaved friends and associates know to not to curse around me, and when they do, they apologize. There you go. See? And when you set yourself up as someone who is respectable, then people will respect you. But when you're out here thoughting it up and doing God knows what with any and everybody, and then posting it for everybody to see, it used to be a time that that kind of stuff stayed hidden. Now it's out there for everyone. So, and I want to go back to the where's the where's the picture? Oh yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, no weapon formed against me. I had to lead that in the youth choir. Shall prosper. Yeah, that was but that's it. Look, let's see. Where was it? All right, so I want to bring this back. So who defines a culture? Because I talked about it. Roberto Blake. Now let's look. Kanye. Kanye went in this week. He's been going in for a while, talking about. I don't know if you all let's see saw this episode. Kanye Ye West with Lex Friedman. I haven't watched the entire thing. I've watched snippets of it, but there's some stuff that he's talking about. He talks about the Holocaust, fashion, media and anti-Semitism. This is the one that's gotten the most traction. You laughing? Don't laugh at my vocals. Yeah, that's why Shane and Shane, they have two albums they call Psalms, Hymns, and Spiritual Songs. Yeah, they write some really good music. I'm not a fan of most contemporary Christian music, but I do like Shane and Shane. Let's see. That's why a lot of churches, Presbyterians specifically, stipulate that we only sing, yes, a regulative principle of worship and, exclusive psalmody. Yeah, sing the psalms to make sure the doctrine is always sound in their music ministry. Yeah, they use the idea that the psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs were the titles from the psalms, and that's why they say we should only sing the Psalter. Yep. Yeah. Exclusive psalmody is an actual thing. All right, let me show you this. I'm sorry, I had it up here, but not up there, right? So Kanye, kind of went in with what they call the anti-Semitic comments and things that he said about Jews controlling media, and now they're trying to cancel him. He's pushed back against the culture, and the culture is trying to cancel him. Like black culture has washed their hands of Kanye West. They started washing their hands of him when he put on his MAGA hat, right? And started to engage with conservative principles. Then his Christian album comes out, and all of these other things. And Kanye. Look, he's not what you would call the most articulate, but you can tell that he's reading and growing and studying. Now he's obviously he believes the false doctrine he has a false belief that black people are Jews. Yeah. He believes that black people are Jews, the lost tribe of Judah, I think. And obviously, that's not really something that can be defended. It's ahistorical, but he is trying to push back against this wicked culture, this death culture that we've set up. And again, I'm going back to the definition, guys. It's something that causes growth. It's the very name. So this is a part of why I push back so much on defining terms. When people say black culture, the word culture means something that causes growth. What we have defined as black culture is the exact opposite. It is causing death. It's abortion. It's thought culture. It's hookup culture. It's all of these things that cause death, drugs, gang culture, murder culture. It's everything that we call culture, which is supposed to help us grow, is actually killing us. So again, when you go back to the etymology of words, you can see how foolish it is on the face of it that we would call this thing that is killing us our culture, because it does not cause growth. from the Latin cultus, meaning to care or to cultivate, which means causing growth. It's stuff that helps us to be better. It's intellectual growth. It's spiritual growth. It's growth in virtue. It's growth in the sciences. It's growth in art. What's the art that's coming out of black culture now? What's being propped up as art in the black culture? Megan Thee Stallion? What? Again, because the words themselves mean something. Words mean something. And when you don't define terms, you can get lost in the weeds of calling this. Woe to them who call good evil and evil good. Let me go to Isaiah. Oh, sorry. We're going to go to Isaiah 5:20. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's go. We talked about that. Isaiah 20. All right. Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe. So if you look at that's a death curse. That's what that word means. That's a death curse. Uai in the Greek. That's a death curse. Death upon those who would call good evil and evil good. When you do that, what you're saying is this thing that I want. Children are a heritage from the Lord, but we're going to say that our culture is about killing children, and we need this right. We need to be pro-abortion. And you make what is good now evil, and what is evil is good. So is it any wonder that we have, what is it? A 13% of the population is what percent of the homicides, the murder, the violent crime? 13% of the population, 30% of the abortion. When are we going to stand up as men and say, okay, enough is enough. Stop calling this evil good. Why are we letting Stacey Abrams go on a tour of black churches, sitting in front of men who profess godliness and telling them that they need to get on board with her agenda to murder black babies en masse continually? We need this pro-choice. We need to be pro-choice. We need abortion back. We need this back. Why? Why do you need this? What we need is more black people. What we need is more. So again, if you have a garden and you scatter, example, if I plant a garden, rows and rows and rows of seeds, I do all the work. I plow it up. I get the ground ready. I scatter 20 million seeds. Let's say I scatter 20 million. All right. Let's say I scatter 100 million. All right. 100 million seeds. And I decide, and somebody comes in and says, you know what? I need for this garden to be successful, I need you to pull up, but after they started growing, I need you to yank up 30% of them. Will my yield be greater or less than? Because the ground was fallow. It was ready. It was ready. The ground was good. Everything was good. If I yank up 30 to 40% of my seed, should I expect a greater harvest or a lesser harvest? I lessen the chances of something great coming up out of the ground when I yank 40% of it out. And the numbers don't even have to be that high. If it's just 100 seeds, if I yank up 40% of them, I only have 60 left. I'm not going to get as much of a yield as I would normally. And then I get less of a harvest. So that's why black people, we get less of a harvest because we have less black people. If you take those 20 plus million black babies that were aborted, we wouldn't be number 2 anymore. I mean, we wouldn't be the 3rd largest minority group. We would probably be pushing a lot higher and closer to the percentage, like to majority status, if we had cultivated those lives and let them live. Those are our next Martin Luther Kings. We killed them. Our Roberto Blakes, more Frederick Douglasses. We killing them before they even get a chance to live. And then the culture, if they live, we're teaching them. We got gangster culture, drug culture, thought culture, I'm just gonna call it out. Sports idolatry culture. All of these. What's going on, my brother Edwin Ramirez? And yes, Susie Q. He is a Hebrew Israelite. Yeah. So you decide to tell people that their life doesn't matter essentially until unless the mother wants them and until they come out of the womb. And then even after that, you teach them that there's a racial boogeyman out there that's going to stop them from ever succeeding, that they're going to be left to the wolves because the government won't do any and everything for them. We just have so many wicked teachings. Again, what is the culture that causes growth? We have a culture that causes death. The very definition of the term has been changed. And that's why it's one of the reasons why I'm so big on learning Latin. Books like this are so helpful because it has Latin roots and for English words, Latin and Greek roots for English words. It's a very helpful little book to go through, the Vocabulary Builder by Merriam-Webster. There are other books like that as well. You can look them up. But learning the etymology of words, learning where words come from, can help you to not be confused. Black culture, but defined by the world, is a culture of death. And we're letting them define that. We need to stand up and say, this is not our culture. Our culture is the Frederick Douglasses of the world. Our culture is the Harriet Tubmans of the world. Our culture, the Booker T. Washingtons of the world, right? Our culture has come from those people down through the ages, and we need to stand up, rise up as men, and stop accepting this foolish. People like The Baby, Lil Baby, Atta Baby, Meek Mill, whoever these people are, Snoop Dogg, all of these people need to be social pariahs in the black community. And people who would be a part of that, we just need to make a sharp separation between it. I know it was a crass, and I'm gonna use this. It's a crass show, but Chris Rock had a point. Like the two types of black people. He couldn't do that today though. He couldn't make that same monologue today. Couldn't do that today. But maybe there needs to be a sharp separation. Maybe we go and take our confunction and our earth, wind, and fire and our love for the Lord and the good music and all the good art and all the things that we love, and we go start our own little commune somewhere, get some land and just go and do that. Like get a state, like tell the government, give us a state, and we just gonna go do our thing. Just give us some land somewhere. We just gonna do that. We're gonna do this. And just like let y'all keep promoting whatever y'all want with them other black people that want to be a part of that culture of death. You're literally destroying. You're planting your plants, and then you're going in and you're planting seeds and then destroying them right after you plant them. It doesn't make any sense. So then you get people. What does Pastor Edwin Ramirez say of the proverbial life? Then you got people dancing to catchy songs with encouraging the yes. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yes, that young lady who created a song. I forget the name of the song, but it was the Planned Parenthood advertisement. Oh yeah, she said, what is it? I got murder on my mind. That was the name of the song. Yes. Let me see. Yes. This thing. Was it? No. Yes, Planned Parenthood song. Yes, this thing. I got murder on my mind. That one. I'm not gonna play it but yeah, she twerks at Planned Parenthood. I got murder on my mind. That's it. Right there. Not even trying to hide it anymore. Roots, prefixes, and suffixes are grade school topics, right? To be honest, I wonder if they're still taught in language arts. Probably not. Yeah, it really is. You know what's crazy? Jewel, I'm teaching 6th to 7th grade logic. And the logic that I'm teaching is not really that difficult. And it should be taught in the 6th, 7th grade. But most people didn't get it. And that's why I tell some people, I tell them, I say this in that it's not an insult when I say this on Twitter. I tell people on Twitter, you're reasoning like a middle schooler. Actually, your reasoning is that of a middle schooler or an upper elementary student, because you can't recognize logical fallacies. You can't put premises that lead logically. You can't make a valid logical argument that flows naturally from premises to conclusion. You don't recognize terms when they're misdefined. That is, those are very simple things. Because I'm looking at my sons do it, and they're 12 and 11, and it's not hard. And when people can't do that as adults, how have you gotten? I mean, you actually can do it. How have you gotten this? How have you gone this long in life without being able to do that? And I'm not trying to insult him. I say your reasoning is that of a preteen. And I'm not trying to be insulting, but it's the truth of the situation, because we've taken logic out of schools. Now people aren't being taught how to think; they're just being taught how to be led to and fro and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by human cunning, by craftiness and deceitful schemes. Yes. Anyway, what grown man wants to be known as little baby? I don't know. One particular. You have people that I think was it DK Metcalf actually wears a I think he wears a mouthpiece that looks like a pacifier. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, so many things. Yes. Woo. Yeah, KL says it's a loss of knowledge and appreciation for holiness, theology, philosophy, and metaphysics. That's how we help folks get out of the muck of materialism and the approval of man, right? Start with the mistress subject of every subject, because every subject points back to God, right? Theology is the mistress subject of all subjects. Yeah, my sons and I are going through a lot of curriculums that are based in, what the Bible says in a Christian worldview. Yeah, so that's our thing. Yeah. But anyway, the only way you can get men to vote is to appeal to their lust. Yeah, we talked about that. No voting, no VUCKING. We talked about that last week, I think. That was last week's video on this Black Culture Review. Yes. Kids will do what they're taught to do. If they're not taught to reason, they won't, right? Then they'll grow into adults that can't reason. Exactly. They can emote, right? So black culture, we don't get to, obviously we didn't define it. It seems like, well, again, I still don't know who defines it, because this is for me, this was just an exercise in trying to figure out, what, just talking to you all and figuring out because I don't have the answer. Like, I don't know who's defining it. I know that I don't like what is commonly defined as black culture. It doesn't appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. I don't like the culture. I don't want to be a part of it. I have no desire to defend it or to see its continuation, because it is a culture of death in every way, shape, or form. The Latin word, again, we talked about it, cultus, to care for something, to cause its growth. This is not causing what we consider black culture, or what the mainstream media is pushing as black culture, pushes death. It's a death culture, which is the exact opposite. It's like saying anti-culture, right? Right. But I'm saying that knowing that for my age, I don't consider my reasoning. If I had gotten the education that my sons are getting today, I think I would be much further along in my reasoning than I am right now. I don't even think of myself as someone who is at age level in my reasoning, because I didn't get what they're getting. That's why I want them to get it. I want them to get it now, so that they're as they're growing and maturing, their reasoning is growing with their physical maturity, right? And then praying that the Lord will bring about spiritual maturity as well, as He saves them and brings them unto Himself. But I just tell people, like, well, you're reasoning like a preteen. And I don't know. But people don't like to be straight shot at like that. I don't know if I would. I mean, yeah, and you the same way as me. When somebody tells me that, I'm like, oh, it's time to step my game up. Somebody tell me my jumper wasn't wet. Well, that means I got to get into the lab and start shooting, right? Somebody tell me my handles is whack. I'm gonna get into the lab. That's what these kids do, right? Your handles whack. I'm gonna go in there and start dribbling. Oh, I need to work on my scales on my keyboard right here. Like, I need to work on them. So I'm going. Okay, you missed those chords. I gotta practice these chords. I gotta practice my gospel cadences and my gospel and my blues and all of that stuff. I gotta work on it. That wasn't good. That's why I ask people. I say, I asked my wife, because she's my harshest critic. How did that sound, baby? Right? And I know, okay, got work to do. I got work to do. Oh man, I need some water before I do my falsetto. But yeah, that's that was Ron Isley for y'all don't know. For y'all that don't know. All right, it was a poor man's, a poverty Ron Isley. What you saying, Jewel? Because I'm about to close this thing up. Got to get back to work. It's not even just black people. Yes, I was on Reddit. I know. A few weeks ago, and we were talking about U.S. education. Right. So many adults didn't see the value in math and abstract reasoning skills. Yeah, I'm not, because I think someone mentioned that the other day when I talked about something. They said this is not. It was the auntie preachers, and they were saying that it's not just in the black community. I know. I'm 100%. I know. I know that none of the stuff that I'm saying is isolated to just the black community. I know that. But again, remember, who am I trying to reach? Who do I have more influence over? Who do I have influence with? Who am I around more often? My wife's black, my children's black, my parents are black, my brothers and sisters are black. Majority of my church is black. My neighborhood is black, except for a few Asian people around here. The city that I live in is black. Got a black female mayor. Got black, council people. I see the people that I go into Walmart and see all the time when we speaking and hollering at them. They know us. They black. So again, my world is virtually almost all black. So I'm talking about the stuff that I'm experiencing. So yeah, when I worked in corporate America, that was not the case. But now I work from home, and my whole life is, generally it's just black. So I'm just gonna keep it. That's why I talk about black things, because that's what I'm around, right? And that just for you all that know, I'm not saying that all these problems are isolated just to black people. I just see them in the black community because that's where I am. This is my worldview. This is my world. So if I lived in Cambodia, or if I lived in Vietnam, I'm going to address concerns for Vietnamese people because Vietnam is where I live. Korea, same thing. This is, I'm just being honest. That's what I see. And I'm not trying to live an internet life where I see all of these things. I'm trying to be in everybody else's Kool-Aid. I don't really know the inner workings of other communities like that. So I'm speaking hopefully prophetically, and not prophetically as in predictive, but prophetically as in proclamation as to the fact that black people, we need to pull back and go find the ancient paths. With that verse that what is it, 6:16 that we were talking about earlier. Thus says Yahweh, stand by the ways and see and ask for the ancient paths where the good way is and walk in it. All right, and they say, and he says, and you will find rest for your souls. But they said, and he's talking about Israel, we will not walk in it. So my hope is to tell black people, hey, look, let's walk in these ancient paths and find a good way. Let's go back to calling good good and evil evil, and we will find rest, and we'll get those outcomes that we're looking for. All right, so we got KL Jewel. Yes, we're going to have to fast track your growth. We are very short on wise, steadfast Christian leaders. Yes, it's okay. A lot of apologists and scholars use horrible. Yes, they do. Oh, they do. Ooh, there's some bad arguments that people use to get people into Christianity. Oh, and I would hope they would stop using them. They're really bad. Let's see. For whoever finds me finds life, Proverbs 8:35, and obtains the favor of Yahweh. But he who fails to find me injures himself. All who hate me love death. Amen. All right, y'all. Look, this is a great conversation. Leave some comments. Let me know some other stuff, like some things that I did not think about. Tomorrow, I think it's in the game. So I'm going to find a sports topic to talk about. If not, I'll find something else to talk about that, something's going on in the world of sports that we can bring the Bible to bear on, right? We're going to make it biblical, right? But this has been a Developing Dad podcast. And until next time, be on the alert. Y'all know it. Stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Wait, I got to make sure that. Hold on, I'm going to do it again. Because I don't have the button. The button's not there for me to turn this thing off. All right, hold on. Let me do it again. Till next time, be on the alert. Stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be strong. See y'all around. Bye.